Okay, welcome back to the Find Your 20 Coaching Insight Show. I'm your host, Mark Sieverkropp, and if you're a business owner who's looking to have more focus, more profits, and more time, then you've come to the right place, because this is the show where I share the top insights that I've had from recent coaching sessions with my clients, as well as the things that I'm learning personally to help you throw out the 80% that's holding you back, so that you can build a business that you actually love owning and a lifestyle that you're excited about. But before we get started today, I want to share with you today's featured resource. And this featured resource is so new, I'm just now digging into it, that I haven't even added it to my recommended resources page yet. So you're going to be the first ones to hear this recommendation. Today's featured resource is a system called Simpleology. Simpleology, it was created by a marketer that's been around for a long time, Mark Joyner. And what I love about this is I was sharing last week on the Hidden 20 audio mastermind, which, by the way, you can find at Hidden 20 or findyour20.com/hidden20 if you want to learn more about that. I'm sharing daily, every weekday, the things that I'm learning, thinking about, talking about, coaching my clients every single day. So I'm sharing that every single day. Findyour20.com/hidden20. Total side note, but I was talking about on there how I'm not a detail person, but I'm finding that using lists is really valuable for me. And it's really valuable to just have a list of things that I need to get done. And I was reading recently where somebody said that one of the hallmarks of successful people was having lists, creating lists, having a list of things that need to be done, having a list of things they need to think about. And I don't know what made me think of it. There's a book by the same name, Simpleology, that I read like 10 years ago, probably, maybe even more than that, maybe like 12 or 14 years ago. It came out in like 2007. And I think I read it like at least 10 years ago. It was like one of the first things that I ever like dug into in the like online business marketing world. I ordered the book online, and that was like, it was like way back before like I was buying books online all the time. Anyways, I read this book, and you can get that book by going to findyour20.com/Simpleology book. And it's just like it's spelled, Simpleology, one word, book. And you can get a link to see that book there. But Mark's system, Simpleology, is really pretty amazing. And like I said, I'm just starting to dig into it. I read the book over the weekend. I logged back into the system. I've used it before and just kind of fell away from it. But I logged back in this weekend, and I started using it and creating lists. And I got to tell you, it was amazing. It's been amazing so far because of, well, how simple it is. It's so simple. So actually, for those of you that are watching the video of this, I'll actually share my screen and I'll show you what this looks like. And it's very simple. It's very basic. And that's kind of the point. Like, that's kind of what we're getting at here, is like getting rid of the distractions. So let me share my screen. So this is the Simpleology dashboard. And when you go here, you go to start my day, and this is where all of your tasks that you've put in are. And then you go through this whole process, which takes about, I found about, takes about 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to prioritize and identify the ones that you want to do today, the ones that you want to do another time, so on and so forth. And so this is a place where in the morning, or I've actually started doing it in the evening before I finish for the day, you can type in anything. I do it, anything that I need to do the next day. So you'll see that I have a whole bunch in here that are actually part of my day today. And then you go through, and it gives you the ability to do some things like decide when you're going to do them. Do it, deliberate or dump it. You can schedule. You can do all of these types of things. And then once you go through that process, what happens is it gives you a daily targets page. And this is the full page. And I love it because it doesn't distract you. Like, literally, these are the things that I have to do today. You can move them around. You can see right now, plan and record podcast episode. I'm in the middle of doing that right now. And you can add different tags to them. You see, I have business. This is one of my clients. Some things I'm doing for coaching soccer, some things I'm doing for my family's restaurant. And then once you check them off, they go down here to these checked off ones, and you can archive them or delete them, or you can just leave them here. And I've actually started leaving them here. I'll probably start deleting some of them, but like this one's a recurring one. And so at the end of the day, I'll actually bump this one back up and I'll add it back to there. So this is the full day. And you can just, once I finish it, I can check it off and it drops down to here. I'm actually going to uncheck that because I haven't done it yet. And let's see, the other really cool thing is this, the dream catcher. This is one of my favorite things because I have ideas all day long. And a lot of times, like I'm using my phone and I'm creating notes in the notes section. But the dream catcher, and this is actually available on any of these pages right up here, the dream catcher, you can type something in that you want to do. So if it's like, call Steve, and I can hit enter, and then what happens is call Steve comes over here and it ends up right here. And so I can put things in and not have to worry about clogging my mind with them. They're just always there. And so these are the things that I've added to the dream catcher. So I was doing some, I had some ideas based on for our family's restaurant. And so these are things that I need to do later today. And so I just dropped them into the dream catcher. And then later on, when I get to the restaurant, I can pull this up and say, okay, here's the things I need to do. And I don't have to try to remember them. I don't have to worry about forgetting them. And they don't have to clog my mind. Like when I have a lot of things going on in my head, it's easy for me to forget. So there's a bunch of other stuff. There's stuff like lists and a bunch of other stuff. So I've actually added, where is it? Where's my list? I just created one. Oh, DK's ideas right here. And that's a list right there. And so you can create all these different lists, do it later. So these are things I need to do, but I'm not going to do right now. You can put in your focuses. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not even using yet. Really what I'm using is the daily targets and the dream catcher. So all of that to say, if you're looking for a way to be more effective, to not get distracted, to create a list to help you to make sure that you get things done, I highly recommend checking out Simpleology. They have a free 30-day trial, and then I think like the base version is always free. And actually right now I'm still on the base version. I think I'm going to upgrade. I'm planning on it. But I wanted to get used to it and go through the process and really learn how it works before I really upgraded so that I could fully use. I think there's a free trial for the upgrades as well. So I'm still on the free version and it's been amazing so far. So if you want to check out Simpleology, you can check it out by going to findyour20.com/Simpleology. That's the word simple and then ology, OLOGY. And you can check it out there. You can sign up for a free 30-day trial, see how you like it. I can tell you it's been huge for me just in these last couple days in making me feel accomplished, making me feel like I know what's going on, what I need to get done, and keeping me from being distracted. One of the things that I can tell you that it did is I actually, for the first time in a long time, closed my browser window this weekend. Usually I have it open and I have 100 tabs because I'm like, well, I don't want to forget this. I want to make sure that I know where this is. I want to be able to know where that is. And one of the things I did is in some of those tasks, I create comments and I'll put the links that I need for those. So like one of them is checking the stats for my Facebook ads each day. I do that. I put it in a spreadsheet so I know how they're performing. And I have, a link for that spreadsheet. I have a link for Facebook Ads Manager, and I kept those open because I didn't want to lose them. Well, what I've done now is I've added it to the comment of that task, and now I can close my browser window, which just frees up all sorts of mental space. It's amazing. I really am happy about that. It was really nice this morning to just wake up and there was like, I opened my browser and there was like 3 things open. And one of them was the Simpleology dashboard, which had my tasks for the day. And I just started working on them. And so the goal is to get more done and be more efficient so that we can really focus on the 20% that really matters. And that's really why I love Simpleology, because it really hones in and it really ties well to the Find Your 20 process. So again, if you want to check out Mark Joyner's book, findyour20.com/Simpleology book, all one word. And if you want to check out his dashboard, his system, his productivity system, you can go to findyour20.com/Simpleology and check that out. And like I said, these are brand new. I haven't even added them to the resources page yet. But if you want to see all the resources that are on the resources page, you can always do that by going to findyour20.com/my best resources. And with that, let's jump in. I want to share 3 things with you this week from previous 2 that are from coaching or conversations that I had, and 1 that's from just some reading that I was doing and studying that I was doing, and something that really impacted me. So tip number 1 is, what kind of clients do you want? what kind of clients do you want? I was talking to one of my clients this past week, and we were talking about whether, she's like, should I lower the price of this initial program or should I keep it higher? And her worry was, I want to get more people in. And so should I drop the price? And the question I asked, and this is what I said, here's the question. I said, will dropping the price attract the right people? And she's like, well, that's a great question. And I said, because there's one thing to attract more people. That's fantastic. But if they're not the right person, do we really want them? Like, do we want them on our email list? Do we want them getting our email or our newsletter? Do we want them, do we want to have conversations with them, sales conversations, if they're not going to buy anyways? So my question to her was, if we keep the price where it is, yes, maybe you'll get less people, but will you have more qualified people that will actually enroll and purchase and become your clients? And that's an important thing to consider, because a lot of times we think of our pricing as just being something that impacts whether people buy or not, or impacts whether we're getting enough leads or we're getting enough new clients. But our pricing also will attract or repel certain people, and that's very important. If you think about like luxury brands, you think about things like Mercedes and Lexus and those types of companies, those types of cars, they attract a certain type of person. And part of that is the pricing. Like they purposely have the pricing at a level where they're attracting a certain type of person. There's certain things that you indicate with your brand based on the pricing that you have. And one of the things that your pricing will do is attract the right or the wrong clients. You can get a lot of really cheap leads. You can get a lot of really, really low end customers. But if those customers aren't going to ascend to your next thing and become the type of client you want them to be, is it worth it? So when you're creating your marketing, when you're creating your pricing, when you're creating all of these things, you want to be thinking, what kind of customer or client do I want? And is what I'm doing here going to attract those clients? Whether that's the pricing, whether that's the marketing, whether that's the messaging, whether that's the way that you position yourself, all of those things matter. And the question that needs to be asked is, what kind of client do you want? Another example would be in my family's restaurant. If there's a certain type of client we want, we'll have a different atmosphere in the restaurant. If we wanted to have a more I would say affluent, more an older clientele, we would play different type of music in the restaurant. If we wanted to have a younger clientele with more families and kids, we would have a different type of atmosphere. And those are the questions you have to ask, because everything you do dictates the type of clients that you attract. You will either attract or repel somebody based on your pricing, your marketing, your messaging, your positioning in the marketplace. All of those things impact who you have. So just like with this client that I was talking to, when you're thinking about making those decisions on pricing or messaging or the way your brand looks or your logo, the question to ask is, what kind of clients do I want? And what kind of clients will this specifically attract? And if you'll do that, you'll be much more, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Much more intentional about getting the right people, rather than just lowering your prices because you want to get more sales, or changing your messaging or your ads because you want to get more leads. Whatever it is, that is all impacted. So make sure to ask the question, what kind of clients do you want? And then do everything based on that. All right, tip number 2, exclusivity sells. There is something really cool about being exclusive. I was having a conversation with a client this week. We were talking about her new program, different client. And part of that program is that it's for, she's describing this, who it's for. And it is a very exclusive type of person. It's, very successful women. And they have certain traits, and these traits make it to where they're not going to discuss or feel comfortable discussing some of the challenges and the things that are going on in their lives and in their businesses in mixed company, in a regular mastermind or a regular community. They're going to want to be around people like them, which, by the way, all of us do. And so as we were talking about that, I said, well, why don't you make it super exclusive? I said, why don't you start this offer, this service, this program? It's like a mastermind, but it's very different. I said, why don't you start it by being really exclusive and calling up the people that would be a good fit and saying, hey, you need to be here. Like you need to be in this room. I need you to be here because you're A, going to want to be, and two, and B, A and two, A and B, you're going to impact this room. You need to be here. And really selling that exclusivity and making that part of the marketing because people want to be a part of things that are exclusive. People want to be a part of things that are exclusive. That's why people stand in line to get the new iPhone. That's why people stood in line to get the new Xbox or the new PlayStation. That's why people sign up for memberships because they want to be a part of something exclusive. They want to be a part of something that they can brag about to their friends that nobody else is a part of. It's a selling point that each of us can use in various ways. Now, if you're not selling a super high end program for super successful men or women or business owners or whatever, it may look different. But even still, having exclusivity sells. Giving people things that nobody else gets sells. That's really kind of one of the hooks or the offers that comes with my Hidden 20 Audio Mastermind is that you get audio that nobody else gets. That I'm sharing things with you that I'm not sharing with anybody else. That is exclusivity. That is selling exclusively. That is using that exclusivity to drive sales and get people excited and become part of a community and part of a group. And you can use that in your business. So, what are the ways that you can use exclusivity? What are the ways that you can make something feel very limited or very exclusive or very special for your clients or prospects or customers so that they feel like they're different? That they're, I hate to say better than people, but people want to feel like they're special. Like we all want to be special. And so if you can help them feel that way through exclusivity, it makes a big difference. Okay, tip number 3. This is something I was reading recently. And it's partially something I was reading and partially something that I kind of put together because I was reading it. But it's the idea that accountability and responsibility lead to success. If you look at people that are successful, whether that's financially or in their careers or anything, it almost always follows that they have more responsibilities and they have more accountability. Like they have more that they, accountability and responsibility, I think are a little bit similar, but also a little bit different. So they're accountable to certain things. I mean, one of the examples, it's interesting. I have this conversation all the time or I hear people say, well, it's not fair that the owner makes more money. Or I've talked to owners that like really kind of want to hide and feel bad about making more money than the people that work for them. And my response always is, yeah, but you have all the responsibility. Like the example I use with our restaurant is, the workers get paid what they get paid, and my in-laws get paid what they get paid, and my wife gets paid what she gets paid as the manager. And the reason is the difference in responsibilities. The workers, their responsibility is very little. When they're at work, they have to do the things that they're responsible and required to do. That is their responsibility. That's their accountability. But when they leave, they have no more responsibility, none whatsoever. However, my wife, when she leaves, she still gets phone calls. So there's still things that she has to deal with. My in-laws, when something breaks, it doesn't matter what time of day it is. It doesn't matter if they were scheduled to work that day or not. It doesn't matter if they were going out to dinner or doing something with family. If something breaks, they're the ones responsible to either get it done or do it themselves. And that is why they have more success. That's why they generate more revenue. That's why they get paid more because there's more responsibility. And so the same thing goes for each of us in our businesses. If we want to be more successful, we need to take on more responsibility. We need to have more accountability. And that could be in, as simple as we need to be responsible for more emails on our email list or more customers or more clients or, and having those responsibilities. Now, what I'm not saying, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying we should necessarily do more just to do more. That is not what I'm talking about. But as we generate more responsibility, we will be more successful. Whether that's speaking to a bigger audience, whether that's managing more employees, whether that's selling, providing more value. You're more successful when you sell a higher end product and there's more value that you need to provide for that product or service. So look for ways in your business to generate more responsibility and more accountability without just adding more work. That's not what we're talking about. But how can you have more responsibility in order to generate more success, more revenue, more of everything? It is a fact that when you have more responsibilities, you are more successful. And if you can't keep those responsibilities, if you can't fulfill those, obviously you lose those responsibilities and you lose the success that comes with it. But again, you look at, all the things that a CEO has to deal with. It's very different. And that's why they get paid more. All of these people talking about it's not fair that the CEO of this company or that company makes this much money. Well, they're the ones that are dealing with the shareholders. They're the ones that are dealing with the board. They're the ones that are answering the media questions. They're the ones that are dealing with all the budget issues. They're doing all of those things, and nobody sees that. But it's those responsibilities that lead to that success. So today we've talked about what kind of clients do you want, and using that as a clarifying question for everything you do in your business. We've talked about the value of exclusivity and how exclusivity sells, and how you can use exclusivity to attract the right people and to make them feel very special, to be honest. And we've also talked about how accountability and responsibility lead to success. So I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for listening to the podcast today, or if you watched it, which again, I highly recommend you do, because I walked you through and showed you the Simpleology system and the dashboard. So if you're not watching this right now, if you're listening to it, you can go watch that by going to findyour20.com/YouTube. Or if you're on Spotify, I think I don't think the video version is available there as well. So make sure you watch that. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Again, if you're interested in checking out Simpleology, there's a free version. There's a 30-day trial as well for the higher version, so you can test that out and see if it's something that you want to use to help you to be more successful, more focused, more productive, and generate the lists that you need to be focused on the things you want to do in your business each day. But also, if you haven't yet, make sure you grab a copy of my book, Find Your 20. By going to findyour20.com/grab your copy. I'll drop it in the mail to you ASAP, and you just have to pay shipping and handling. I'll pay for the book, then I'll get it out to you. Just pay for the shipping and handling. And as always, if you would please leave a rating and review for the podcast. It helps other people find the podcast, and I love reading those. I love seeing what you're thinking, what your thoughts are on the podcast as well. So thanks for watching and listening, and until next time, get out there and chase your 20.